So we really need to have a very deep, hard look at the basics of what Jesus intended the church to be.
Yeah. And of course, when you say Aussie, that's a very inclusive term, isn't it?
Absolutely.
For us Aussies.
Yeah.
We recognise that Aussies look very different to each other, very different backgrounds and very different circumstances. But there is that sense of belonging when you carry that name. You're a part of this country, part of this people.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we're not inclusive, we're not church.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line. If we're not inclusive, we're not church.
Do you think that maybe the church struggles to identify itself in that Aussie inclusiveness? You know, we're the called out ones. We're separate, and so we're no longer there. We're here. Do you think that might be part of the struggle?
Yeah, I do think that, Roland, and I think that's been there ever since I've been involved. Since the 1970s on up. And I mean, you know me. I've been a part of the Wesleyan Church. Kingsley College was a Wesleyan theological college. I mean, still is. And I walk with you in Nazarene Church, and Nazarene Theological College, and I love Wesleyan theology, but I am really concerned that oftentimes Wesleyan theology, as understood or as portrayed by the church, doesn't really do justice to what the theology is all about. And that's a whole other topic, and we could spend weeks on that probably. But I do believe that we have a hard time in the church understanding that Jesus never called us out of the neighborhood. He says you go into the world to be different. We're called to an ethic of difference. We're called to live differently in the world.
Right.
And that's where you and I have talked before about being an embedded church, being an incarnational church. Well, that's all about being embedded in the neighborhood,
Yes.
That's where the church is supposed to be.
Yep.
Whenever Paul writes to the churches, he gives two addresses. He says to the church that is in Christ and in Ephesus,
or
in Colossae, or in Philippi,
or
in Thessalonica, and so it goes on. You see, there's two addresses that we've got. We're in Christ, that is our spiritual address,
and
we must never lose sight of that and grow in that all the time. I feel like I'm an infant in that one, but I hope by the grace of God that I'm growing in it. But that's not our only address. The other address is a geographical address. It's a neighborhood address. And we are to be embedded in the neighborhood.